We're doing a 3-round NFL mock draft, and we're putting the simulator into crazy mode. Hopefully, we get some crazy picks, some guys to fall to us. We're not trying to guess the draft. We're playing a video game with it and trying to react to what happens and seeing if anything crazy happens to where that could potentially happen on draft night, because that will happen a few times throughout the draft. Before you dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're trying to break the NFL draft. We're covering it every day in multiple different angles, dynasty, redraft, devy, everything's here. But we got to dig in right now. I'm picking for every team who's got a first-round draft spot divisible by 5. Jaguars, Bears, Falcons, Broncos, Texans, Bills. Just to switch things up, so I have picks to react to. I set the randomness up to more all the way. Everything else, draft needs a little high, care for position in the middle, and we're going towards the public because why do we care what PFF thinks? But let's enter the draft right here. And here we are. We're on the board getting ready to start the draft. And remember, my first pick is at 5 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's see what they do here. How are we going to react? Titans on the board. Shedeur. What? No way. Cam Ward going to. No way. Yeah, Armin off the board to the Giants. That makes sense. Let's go over these picks. Real quick. So Shedeur Stewart's not happening. That is not happening. Cam Ward to the Browns, getting gifted. I bet you Cam Ward goes to the Titans. Offensive line to the Giants is in the cards. But you got Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter on the board. It just ain't happening after that. And now we're looking at the Patriots. Travis Hunter just fell to their lap, and they got to make the selection. There's a bunch of other things you could do here, but considering what just happened here, you got to make that move. Now I got the Jaguars, and with the random meter up high, I got to take advantage of what comes to me. And now Abdul Carter's coming off the board. Even with the PFF needs of wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, say I'm not passing it up. You just can't. I have him as a top player in this draft. I would take him over the quarterbacks. Raiders are up. Who are they going? Will Johnson. That's actually a good pick. Michael Williams to the Jets. Defensive line, high-end guy. Elvin Banks. Going tackle. Will Campbell. Going to the Saints. Now I'm up with the Bears. I'm not agreeing with all the picks. Again, this is a simulator. I got to set the random, and I want to see what's going to happen, and I'm doing a video documentary on it. I'm shooting the shit on it. Let's see what we got here that came off the board. 2 top-end tackles, Saints and Panthers. I don't really see that happening. There's potential for that. But we're looking at 10. We got some dogs on the board that shouldn't be there. A few of them. Things are starting to even it out. But one guy fits team's needs. One guy's going to add a lot of talent. He's not going to fall this far. It's Mason Graham. He's not falling this far, guys. He's not. And if he does, something weird happened. And that does happen some years. And it's a weird class. We'll say that. Niners go Jihad Campbell. I want to talk about this after I make my pick. Matthew Golden to the Cowboys. FOMOing at wide receiver. I don't really see that happening. Tyler Warren to the Dolphins. If he falls, that could be a landing spot for them. So, as we look at the previous picks here, Jihad Campbell to the Niners. I don't see that likely, but what we should know is that there are rumors that he's gaining steam. I saw that on Twitter from a few different sources, and I'm talking media, not people. That's something to look out for. One of the top linebackers in the class, Matthew Golden. They do need to look at wide receiver. They do need to add talent. Some people have him as one of the top wide receivers in the class. You're adding speed to this offense, and that is something you need to add next to CeeDee Lamb to help stretch the field. That's a good look. Tyler Warren can't fall too far in the draft. Someone's just going to make the pick. Adding him to this offense, you're kind of good at tight end, but for the long term, getting that upside helping Tua. Tyleik Williams. I like him. It's very high. It's not you. I like him, though. I like him as a talent. It's high. He ain't going that high in real life. But now I'm on the clock, and I'm looking at the Falcons. I know I got Drake London. Kyle Pitts, I don't know if he's going to be there forever. Let's look at what's on the board here, because some crazy picks happen. James Pierce is there. Mike Green's there. T-Mac, I'm just looking at him. That could be a good ad. You got 2 big wide receivers on the outside. You're helping Michael Penix. Remember, you got a second-year quarterback, kind of a rookie quarterback back there. He came in the back end of the season last year. You got a developmental quarterback right there you want to bring along. You got edge rushers here. So, honestly, it's like pick your poison because you got talent. In real life, you're probably looking to trade back. But you also got T-Mac falling to you. I don't see him falling to the Falcons. I don't see it happening. But what would happen to make this transaction spire is they don't like this wide receiver class. They push up some of the other wide receivers. Maybe like Golden or something. I just don't see it. But T-Mac, come on down. I think we're rolling with the skyscrapers for the Falcons. We'll go defense and meat and potatoes heavy rest of the draft. Maybe Tyler Booker to the Cardinals. I like him going this range. Honestly, because I want to get my interior offensive linemen when I can get them. And it's a big drop-off after him. James Pierce to the Bucks. That's a huge get. He's not falling that far. Jalen Walker to the Seattle Seahawks. That's a talent. Jaden Higgins. Biggest reach. Second biggest reach. This draft so far isn't really credible, so I don't know if I want to keep going, but I'm having so much fun. I'm glad I put it in crazy mode. I'm glad I showed you everything before it started so you wouldn't be too confused. Those who are knocking the picks better understand that we're having fun today. Now we're the Broncos. Ashton Jeanty fell to us. We got a debacle at running back right now. That is something to think. We do have some wide receivers there. Almost all of them now. Luther Bird and Mika Egbuka. 2 big wide receivers. We got a big running back. Defensive line, we got Mike Green right there. He should not be falling. We have too much here to look at. I will say this. With the Broncos, their defense was very locked down last year. And if I wanted to pay up and get my running back or wide receiver, I would do that. I think it's smarter to go at wide receiver in this year's class in the first round than running back. However, a guy like Jeanty falling this far, and the reason why I say that is because the drop-off in talent isn't too grand at running back once you get second, even third round. Like, this is a deep class. I'm looking at this. Which wide receiver would I want for the long term? Mika Egbuka or Luther Burden? We got Ashton Jeanty. That is what I'm looking at. I like Mike Green a lot. Malachi. We're going to get some fun picks here. So, there's how they stack up overall-wise. Luther Burden, Mika Egbuka, former 5-star wide receivers. Marion Hampton, not too far off. Let's go with Mika Egbuka. Get the route running. Get the big slots. Just add him into the offense. Kenneth Grant to the Steelers. He looks like a Steeler. Marion Hampton to the Chargers. This makes sense, but he's going ahead of Ashton Jeanty. However, some people have him ahead of Ashton Jeanty after the combine. Caleb Johnson sneaking into the first round. Ashton Jeanty's on the board. And we got Joe Mixon, who's not getting any younger for the Texans. And this is not real life. This is getting very strange. I just want to see what the simulator would look like. This is still getting posted. This is still happening. There's a lot of other positions of need here. I can't pass this up. I can't. CJ Stroud's going to need help for the long term. Joe Mixon got hurt last year. Princely gets reached on by the Rams. Shamar Turner. So, rule of thumb, don't ever do this. Donnie E. We love Donnie E. from Boston College going to the Lions. Jahdae Barron going to Washington. Good pickup there. Bills are on the clock. We're running to the podium here. I do not know why Mike Green's fallen. I do not know. I don't have an answer for you. But we're hitting that button and loving it. We're loving it. Mike Green to the Bills. Chiefs are now. What I like about Mike Green is he's got a motor. He's strong off the edge. Trey Amos, I like him. One of my favorite corners. Jordan Birch to the Eagles. We're not expecting this draft to be realistic. Kyle Kennard, edge. Xavier Watts. I like Watts. I don't like him this early. RJ Harvey. What are they saying here with these picks at running back? They're saying this is a very talented class. They're saying that. And we know that. But that's what the simulator is trying to tell us when they're looking at the overalls and everything else. Jacksonville is up. What did we do last pick? Abdul Carter? Luther Burden, come on down. This ain't happening. This ain't happening. But Luther Burden, come on down to the Jaguars. Ooh. Big pickup there for the Raiders. Nick Emawari just climbing the board since the combine. Bears on the clock. So I'm up. I got 2 picks here in the second round back to back. We've been stacking talent on the offensive line. We can't ignore it still because this is big time talent. If it weren't for the knee injury, Josh Simmons would be drafted pretty high in the first round. You're getting a monster here. You just keep adding talent. You keep adding talent if it falls to you. Jalen Milroe going in the second round. I don't agree with that. Running back, D-line, safety. My boy Walter Nolan's right there. Old Walter White. We're going right there. We're getting talent for the Bears. I'll say that. We got a lot of talent for the Bears. I didn't even look at who they selected. I didn't need to. Maxwell Hairston holding steady in the second round. Dre Zabel fell in this draft. Colts, Cameron Williams fell in this draft too late. We're looking at the Falcons. That is me. And we went T-Mac. So we do not have a third round pick, it looks like. We got to look at edge. We got a good guy right here. It's a fair price, though. It's fair. I look for him to go a little bit earlier than that. It's a fair price for him. We're in the second round. Shedeur Sanders hasn't been drafted yet. I thought he'd go in the first somewhere. There we go. He falls in these mocks a lot. This is like the 4th one. Landon Jackson. Savion Williams. Savion Williams, a big reach there. JT Tutalua to edge from Ohio State to the Bengals. Now I'm back up with the Broncos. Looking up here, any dynamic players. Landon Jackson going to the Cardinals. Up here with the Broncos. We got our wide receiver. We picked up our tight end. We got another tight end that we mock in the first round a lot. We're going Colston Loveland. This is a funny current event here. Dorian Strong going early. I like Dorian Strong. He's one of my dudes. I love drafting him in these mock drafts. Jackson Dart going in the second round. Swinson going to the Packers, getting their edge. Revel going to the Chargers. Bills are up. Let's see what we did with them. I don't think it matters if there's this good a talent on the board. Mike Green. Like, why? Why? Linebackers a guy to look at. We got Demetrius Knight right there. Derek Harmon's a guy to look at. Josh Connerly's fallen. There's some dudes. Cornerbacks, there's got to be some guys down here. Cornerbacks actually got zapped up. Quinshon Judkins still available. He usually goes around this area of the draft. Looking at what's available here. Darius Alexander's been a big riser. Demetrius Knight can fill a position of need. But talent over situation, right? Talent over situation. Going Harmon here. Just getting a plug. And then the third round. If I want to go linebacker and it's there, I'll go there. Some people are falling. Trey Harris going to second round. He'll go day 2. He'll go day 2. Looking at what the Texans got, we picked up Ashton Jeanty. I love putting these drafts in crazy mode. Josh Connerly falling to the Texans in the second round. He's going to get selected late first, early second in the real draft. We've been watching his stock. Quinshon Judkins to the Ravens. At some point, you got to pull the trigger. Tez Johnson does not belong in the second round. PFF likes him a lot, but Tez Johnson fell on his face pretty bad at the combine with his numbers. Like I say, there's only like 5% of players that actually do fail the combine and 5% of the players that actually like really boost their stock, and the rest just do what they are supposed to according to the tape. He's one of them that failed it, and it's going to be a long ride up, and maybe he gets drafted 3rd, 4th, 5th round if he's lucky, but those numbers weren't good, but his tape's solid. Looking at what's available right now, Bills are up. Demetrius Knight, they're killing this draft. I mean, everybody is. All my teams are killing this draft. I guess I put on easy mode. I just wanted to put on crazy mode to see what happens, and I documented it. Edge going to the Chiefs, just stacking defense. Jack Sawyer in the 3rd round. Chiefs go Mello Dotson getting a corner. Ashton Gillott going to the Browns, getting their edge. Kevin Winston, one of the guys I like to draft. I like his talent back there. I'm back up with the Jaguars. Abdul Carter, Luther Burden. We're getting the riches today. We're getting all of it. I could actually get a good, like, second-round caliber wide receiver right here. We have Darius Alexander. We're actually getting our needs, too. We're filling that up. There we go. We're getting talent. Jalen Royals. And then some of these picks actually kind of make sense. Now I'm up with the Bears. What have we done so far? I remember I did not look at their picks. I was just taking what was falling to me in the second round. Josh Simmons, Walter Nolan, Mason Graham are only picking the third round. Running back is something we've been wanting to explore. Scadaboo, Trevion Henderson. Trevion Henderson, we already got Swift for the short term. Devin Neal. I think Scadaboo kind of fits well with this team. I think he's got a little bear in him. Let me know what you think. But here we go to the Bears. Jets. Wow. Wow, that's Damian Martinez. I like him. He's a day 3 caliber back. Lampkin, guard. Going guard when you need to. This part of the draft's fine. Going edge for the Cowboys. Shedeur Sanders falls to the third round. So let's talk about that. What's the chances of that happening? So when I really think about that, he's definitely better than Will Levis. He's definitely better than the Kenny Pickett draft class. All those quarterbacks. I really liked Matt Corral, but he was hurt coming into the process. Shedeur Sanders, when you stack him up to last year's class, he doesn't fit in well with that class, especially those top guys. But Shedeur Sanders can play in the NFL. He's very accurate downfield. It's going to be an interesting concept to see what those FOMO teams that need quarterback at the top are going to do. We're watching what the Giants are going to do right now if they're going to sign somebody. It's Sunday right now, so maybe they sign somebody Sunday night. Maybe they do that. The Giants or the Browns. And when I'm talking about Russell Wilson. He was visiting them. Maybe something gets done. We're waiting on that news blurb. But the Texans are up. Going back to Shedeur Sanders, though. He's been following a lot of these mocks. And I've been messing with these mocks to see what's going on. To see if it's continuing or if it was a slide. It just keeps happening. But we're back with the Texans. Ashton, Jeanty, Josh Connerly. We're just taking these values. Big time values here. We got a lot of good ones. Let's roll down. Elijah Royals there. Darren Porter's one of my guys. He's one of my guys. I like him a lot. Thomas here got worked at the Senior Bowl a little bit. Benjamin Morrison's one of my guys. He's dropped a lot in ADP. He's going to be good value for somebody. Looking at some of these other teams, Josiah Stewart, I like him. Donovan Jackson, I like him a lot too. Trevion Henderson. Chris Paul, I like him. He's not going to get drafted in this draft, I don't think. I like Terrence Ferguson. I like him a lot. I just want to go over some players I like since this video went kind of insane. I like Alfred Collins. Keeping him in Texas. Just taking the value. Just taking that value. What hold up? Wide receiver, something to look at. Alec Ayomanor. I like Alec Ayomanor. I like him. He's a good route runner. Put Travis Hunter up in a blender. Good market share. Over 30% market share of Stanford's passing production, especially the last 2 seasons. Good yards per. This is a solid wide receiver. It'd be a good wide receiver on the opposite side of Nico Collins. I think that's great value for him. He's a second-round wide receiver. I said that. I can't keep passing on him. Riley Mills to the Colts. I like doing this because it kind of makes you think a little bit. Chase Luntz, tackle from Connecticut. Now I'm on the clock with the Broncos. What have I done with this team? Bo Nix is going to get better. You can really get nasty with 2 tight ends when you're done with Evan Ingram. Colson Loveland's there to step in. Some people have him as the top tight end in class. Some people do. He's very good catching the football. Very good. What's one thing this team needs? Running back. Where are we at running back? Dylan Sampson, Trevion Henderson. I would go Hendo over Sampson. Giddens and Henderson are more closer for me. Giddens can be more all-purpose. Hendo and Audric Estime. That would be a great tandem. Let's do that, and we can also go another running back later if we really wanted to. That's that kind of draft class. Elijah Royo to the Chargers. That's an amazing fit. Benjamin Morrison, if he goes in the 3rd round, the NFL's really messing around too much. I'm back up with the Jaguars. I'm going to Darius Alexander, Luther Burden, Abdul Carter, just killing this draft. And I'm going to draft Terrence Ferguson. I like him a lot. I feel like I can go this route with them. Really help Trevor Lawrence. Backfill the tight end spot there. Get a good talent for the long term. And I'm back up with the Texans. Texans. Killing. All my teams are killing this draft. We're not doing crazy mode anymore. Crazy mode's fun. Maybe good for a Tesla. But not here. What do? We were looking at Alfred Collins last time. I think the talent's too good to pass on, like every pick I've made. Rams go. Jalen Noel. I like Jalen Noel a lot because of the speed. He was productive at Iowa State. I think he's going to be a good role player for the NFL. I think he has he has upside to do something for you in fantasy in the right spot with the right quarterback. Will Howard going into round 3. Will Howard's an interesting player. I think he'd be a great backup. A great developmental backup. I think he'd serve you well. Dylan Gabriel, backup quarterback to the Dolphins. I think these quarterbacks will go a little later. I don't see these teams going after it like that. My picks are done. My picks are done. This was a crazy draft. This was the craziest draft of all time. I do not recommend watching this if you're looking for players to be actually located in these landing spots. However, this allowed me to touch base on a few different players that I don't normally get to talk about in the early rounds. It's kind of part of the process. Honestly, I just want to see how much or how bad the simulator would break if I really stretched it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.